What's up guys, this is Mox Lotus here, and today we're going to be continuing our Commander 2015 reviews. So in the last part we looked at just all the main legendary creatures and the confluence cycle, and then today we're just going to look at all the other cards in the set. Now I'm not going to be as in depth about each card as I was in the previous episode because we do have 40 cards to get through. So yeah, some cards I'm just going to sort of skip over, we want to try and, I've only got a 15-minute upload limit, so we are going to have to stick to that, unfortunately. A few cards in this set are just pretty average anyway. But yeah, let's get into it. So first of all, we have another cycle, which is a bunch of creatures that have a new ability called Myriad. And yeah, basically what it does is whenever the creature with Myriad attacks, you get a token for each player other than the defending player. And then they're all going to enter the battlefield tapped and attacking. And then yeah, you exile the tokens at the end of the combat. So it is a pretty powerful ability. This one's just an angel with vigilance, and it's flying as well, so that's got a decent one. Bloodbirth Viper. This is actually pretty powerful. Like, say there's 4 players in the game, you can attack someone, and if all 4 of your Vipers deal damage, then you can draw 4 cards, so that's pretty good. This one makes players discard a card. Not the best, but still not too bad either. And then this one here is pretty powerful because it's got haste, so you can play it straight away. And yeah, it has to deal. And this one doesn't even have to deal combat damage, so it is quite threatening. And then the last one is Core of the Pack. This one's a bit more expensive, but it's a big fatty with trample. And yeah, when you get this guy out and attacking your opponents, they're going to have to really scramble to defend themselves. Like, this card can win games. Next up, Resco Explorer. It's a 2/2 for 2. It lets you get a plains or more, and yeah, put them on to the battlefield when it enters. So it's actually a pretty good card, I think. White doesn't have too much ramp, so it's a cool card to see. Next up, Synthetic Destiny. An instant, you can exile all creatures you control, and then at the beginning of the next end step, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal that many creature cards. And then you put all creature cards revealed this way onto the battlefield, and then shuffle the rest of the revealed cards into your library. I don't think this card's that great, to be honest. I'm sure there's some combos with it, but yeah, I guess I think you can reactivate their enter the battlefield abilities, but it doesn't really do that much, to be honest. So I think this card is a bit dodgy. Next up, Thief of Blood. So 1/1 for 6 with flying, and when it enters the battlefield, you remove all counters from all permanents, and it gets a +1/+1 counter for each permanent revealed this way. Oh, for each counter removed this way, sorry. Yeah, this card isn't too great either, to be honest. I mean, you want to have, it's better to have a lot of smaller creatures that are all buffed up than have one big buffed up creature, because there's so much removal. You can just Swords to Plowshare this card, and then yeah, you lose all the counters that you had on your creatures, which you worked quite hard to build up. This card, if there's somebody that everyone is trying to kill, and you know they don't have any thing to defend themselves, maybe they have to reveal their hand or something, then this card can win the game. But other than that, it's pretty bad. Next up, Ride of the Raging Storm. This card is an enchantment that gives you, at the upkeep of each player, they get a 5/1 elemental called Lightning Rages, so that the Lightning Rage can't attack you. And it has trample and haste, and during their end step they sacrifice it. So this card is pretty political, and it's good because they can't attack you. And yeah, I think this card's pretty cool. Next up, Bloodsport Tharanax. 2/2 for 4, Devour 1. So when it enters the battlefield, you can sacrifice any number of creatures. It doesn't just have to be one. So some decks, I think it's in the Marin deck, which wants to have a lot of creatures in the graveyard, and there are a lot of cards with sack effects, so you can use this to get rid of a bunch of creatures and trigger a bunch of effects. and then each other creature you control enters the battlefield with an additional X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is the number of counters on the Faranax. So this is actually quite a powerful card. I think it's pretty good. Next up, Shielded by Faith, Enchantment Aura. So you have to enchant a creature for 3. It gives them indestructible, and then whenever a creature enters the battlefield, you can attach it to that creature. So it's sort of like an artifact that you can keep on, or an equipment artifact that you can keep on equipping for 3. I think it's alright. The good thing is that if you're trying to team up with an opponent, you can give it to them too, so it's got a political aspect to it. Next card is an instant for 4, and it's called Aether Snatch. And this lets you gain control of target spell, and then you may choose new targets for it. If it's a permanent, then the permanent enters the battlefield under your control. So I think you can use this to steal someone's Emrakul or something like that. So can be a pretty cool card, I think. But yeah, it's a bit. 6 mana isn't too bad, but you know it's got the double blue, so it's a bit hard to play. Next up, we have Daxos's Torment, and it is an enchantment for 3 and a black with Constellation. So whenever that or another enchantment enters the battlefield, then Daxos's Torment becomes a 5/5 with flying and haste until end of turn. That's pretty cool. I like that card, to be honest. Can be pretty interesting. Next up, Magus of the Wheel. This card is a Wheel of Fortune on a creature. So, you know, like, that's a pretty cool card too, to be honest. Wheel of Fortune's a pretty old and iconic card, so it's cool to see it in this new form, and obviously you can keep using its effect over and over, provided it's not dead. Next up, Pathbreaker Ibex. This is a 3/3 for 6, and when it attacks, it gives all your creatures, I think it's called Overwhelming Stampede, something like that, like the same effect as that. That's a pretty cool, and pretty powerful card, to be honest. Like the green deck, it seems, or both the green decks really, seem to be focused around getting out massive amounts of creatures with really high power and toughness, and pretty strong strategy in my opinion. Next up, we have Grasp of Fate. When it enters the battlefield, for each opponent, exile up to 1 target non-land permanent that player controls until it leaves the battlefield. Enchantment for 3. It's actually not too bad because it's like an Oblivion Ring or whatever, but it targets multiple people. And, you know, obviously people can destroy it with enchantment removal, but still, I think that's a pretty good card, pretty good removal. Mirror Match. You can only play it during the Declare Blockers step, and it's 6 mana, so you're not going to be casting anything in your main phase 2, most likely. But for each creature attacking you or a planeswalker you control, you get a token that's blocking it, so this card can save you if you're about to die, I guess. Next up, Scourge of Neltoth. This is pretty powerful. It's a 6/6 for 7 with flying, and then you can cast it from your graveyard by paying 2 black and sacrificing 2 creatures instead of paying the mana cost. So if you've got 2 1/1 tokens, you know, you can easily bring it out. And also, it's good to sacrifice creatures in this deck, so, you know, it's pretty good to have constant 6/6 flyer that, it helps you to play at summoning condition. Next up, Mizzix's Mastery. It's sorcery for 4, and you can exile target creature card that's an instant or sorcery from your graveyard, and for each card exiled this way, you can copy it, and you can cast the copy without paying its mana cost. That's actually pretty cool, to be honest. And you can overload it, so that'll mean that you replace every. So it pretty much means you can target everything, I guess. But it will cost you 12 mana to do that, so can be game winning, but yeah, it does. It's pretty hefty to play. Next up, we've got Arachnogenesis. Instant for 3. You get X 1/2 spiders with reach, not death touch, unfortunately, where X is the number of creatures attacking you, and you prevent all combat damage to the spiders, so it's a pretty good way to get out a bunch of tokens quickly. Next up, Bastion Protector. Commanded creatures you control get +2/+2 and indestructible. Yeah, I think this is in the deck with Calmine, so if you're playing an Anya deck, you put it on that. Gigantoplasm, 0/0 for 4, and it enters the battlefield as a copy of any creature. except it gains for X, this creature has base power and toughness XX, so it's not too bad, I guess. Dread summons, it's X and 2 black, and target player puts type X cards of their library into a graveyard, and for each creature card you get a 2/2 zombie. That's alright, I guess. Awaken the Sky Tyrant, 4 mana enchantment. Whatever the source an opponent controls deals damage to you, you sacrifice it, and then you get a red 5/5 flying dragon. We'll skip Great Oak Guardian because we're really just trying to focus on all the rares and all that at this point. So yeah, I'm going to skip over a couple of cards just because we won't have time to cover them all. Dawnbreak Reclaimer, 5/5 fly for 6. In your end step, you can choose a creature card in each opponent's graveyard. Sorry about that, guys, but this card basically lets you and all your opponents pick a creature that you want to come back, I guess. And yeah, it's kind of like an everybody wins cards. I'm going to skip over these two, can't even read this one anyway. But Dream Pillager, 4/4 dragon for 7 with flying, and when it deals combat damage, exile that many cards from the top of your library, and then you can cast all non-land cards exiled this way. That's alright, I guess. Yeah, I think it just means you exile 4 most of the time unless it's buffed up. Zuri's Predation, 8 mana, pretty much like it's like Prey Upon, I guess, and it gives you a bunch of 4/4 beasts to do it. And obviously with Doubling Season, like most of the cards in this deck, just gets out of control. Calmene's Captain, 5/5 Vigilance, Monstrosity 3 for 7. It becomes monstrous, exile all artifacts and enchantments. Pretty good board wipe for artifacts and enchantments, and can become pretty scary. Deadly Tempest, pretty much just a board wipe, and then everyone loses life as well. Centaur Vine Crasher, 1/1 for 4 with Trample, and its battlefield with +1/+1 counters equal to the number of lands in all graveyards. And when a land is put into a graveyard from anywhere, you can pay 2 green, and if you do, you can return it from the graveyard to your hand. So now we'll move down to the artifacts and the lands. First artifact is Seal of the Guild Pact. It's sort of like, I forgot the name of the card. It's like, it's another guild kind of card. Tablet of the Guilds, I think, from Ravnica. That one gains you life, but this one gives you a 1 discount for each colour that the spell you choose is. So, you know, if you choose, say, red and blue, you'll get 2 off if you play like a blue spell with 2 colours, something like that, or a red and blue spell with 2 colours in it, sorry. Next up, Scythe Claw, living weapon artifact for 5, and the creature it equips to gets +1/+1. And then whenever that creature deals damage to a player, they lose half their life. So if this card actually lets you hit, then you can pretty much just ruin someone, and you can equip it to something else for 3. So you can put it on a flyer, and then that can pretty much kill someone a lot of the time. If you have it on Anya, I think. Yeah, that's it. Next up, Blade of Selves. Gives the equipped creature Myriad, and it equips for 4, 2 mana. Pretty self-explanatory. Myriad is a very powerful ability, and yes, pretty cool card. This next card is really, really good. It's called Thoughts Urn. It's an artifact for 2. You have no maximum hand size, and it's also a mana rock for 1 colourless. So it's sort of like a Reliquary Tower artifact, and yeah, you can easily Soul Ring it out turn 1. And yeah, it gives you another mana. Just a really solid card in general. I think this is going to be a new staple, to be honest. And then our last card is Command Beacon. So this is like the new Command Tower type thing, or Opal Palace. And you can add 1 to your mana pool if you tap it, or you can sack it and put your commander from your hand into the command zone. So it's uncommon that your commander goes to your hand, but if it is there, then you can easily bring them out. So overall, pretty good set of cards, I reckon. Definitely recommend picking up these decks. I think they're pretty cool. But yeah, that's it for now. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment and subscribe. And until next time, bye guys.